What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again. This is going to be one of my rambling videos. I don't think it'll be particularly funny. I just want to talk to you for a little while. I'm not going to do anything silly or goofy, so if that's what you're expecting, you may want to take a look at another video. But today, I wanted to talk to you about the internet. I'm not going to go on and on about SOPA and PIPA and the laws that affect the internet. I just want to talk about the internet itself. And a lot of people have asked me, over the past month, you've been very active towards fighting SOPA and PIPA. And there's a lot of other things in this world you could be fighting against. You could be fighting against starvation. Now, that's probably close to your heart, you know, a pun intended. You could be talking about censorship in China instead of here in America. You could be talking about NDAA. And one of the reasons I'm so adamant about fighting for the internet is not only because it is the way that I make my livelihood, but the internet saved my life, and that's a story that I'll tell later on. But I don't think a lot of people that are alive today that have grown up with the internet or have been affected by it really understand my particular viewpoint, because I was born way back in 1974 when the internet wasn't something you could get on. You know, in the 80s, I think there was some networking between schools, and it wasn't until I got to college in '92 that for the very first time, I'm 18 years old, for the very first time have I sat down in front of a computer and had to connect to a different computer. It was the first time in my life that I'd ever seen that. And it was fascinating. It was amazing. The World Wide Web had not been, www dot whatever, had not been invented yet. The very first time I sat down in front of a computer. I guess actually I was 16 because it was during Upward Bound. You know, in high school we had like a computer lab where you did your homework and you could type things out and use it as a word processor to print things, but they weren't connected to the internet. You know, I'd not really understood what the internet was. It was something they talked about on the news distantly. And it's a fucking miracle. I mean, it's an actual miracle. I mean, when I was a kid, when I needed information, when I needed to know anything, something that you could easily find by typing into Wikipedia, anything. You can learn anything about anything for any reason at any time. But if I wanted to learn about the world around me, if I wanted to learn about learning about a car, for example, if I want to learn how to fix my own car, that was nearly impossible to do. You know, that's why we paid mechanics to begin with, because we couldn't work on our own vehicles. We couldn't do something simple. You know, you either had to find someone who had the skill and was willing to share it with you, had that information, be willing to share it with you. You could make a trip down to your local library if you had a decent library. If not, like the way I grew up, you had to travel to your county library, many miles away. You'd have to find that information in a book. You'd have to pay money to photocopy those pages, which is copyright infringement too, by the way. But let's not even get into that. You'd have to memorize that stuff. You'd have to learn it. And you'd have to come and apply it right there. There's no videos to watch. There's no YouTube. There was no how-to guides. There was no Wikipedia. You know, and it's a fucking miracle that you have access to that kind of information. When I grew up, if I wanted to listen to a particular song, if I wanted to listen to, just off the top of my head, Boy George. Okay, I don't know why I want to listen to Boy George, but I wanted to listen to Boy George, okay? I had to turn on MTV. Now, of course, they used to play music back then, too, but I had to turn on MTV and wait, and fucking wait, and watch 3 hours of television, watching the latest commercials, and hope that video came on. Or I could make it down to my local store and spend 15 bucks. Yeah, we still spend as much on CDs today as we did back then. 15 bucks went a lot further, but you spend 15 bucks on a CD to see you own a copy of that song. Now, today, I can type it into YouTube, and I can search for that song, I can listen to it, I can watch the video, I can see Boy George dance. YouTube makes a little bit of money. The recording industry makes a little bit of money. Boy George makes a little bit of money. And there's no, I don't see the downside of that. It baffles me that upsets the recording industry. It baffles me that it upsets Boy George. That sounds fantastic. But the real problem here is that while you're looking up Boy George on YouTube, you might accidentally discover someone who sounds a little bit like Boy George and who gives away his music and allows you to distribute it freely and listen to it freely. And that's when the big guys don't make their money anymore. See, that's what's so fucking terrifying. We live in an age, and the reason it's a miracle, the reason it's a fucking miracle is because I can exchange any information I want. I can turn on my web camera right now, and I can tell you everything I know, everything I've ever learned. It's free for you to have if I'm willing to give it to you. I can tell you how to fix a car. I can tell you how to lose weight or gain weight. I can tell you what foods to eat, what foods not to eat. I can give you recipes for healthy foods and non-foods. I can show you a picture of my Princess Leia poster. I can sing a copyrighted song poorly, probably, just like they do on Glee. But I can tell you about my childhood, about my life, and, you know, you don't have to sit through... You may sit through a commercial at the beginning of this video because I'm a YouTube partner, but you may not... You don't have to sit through 4 hours of the commercials hoping that that's the information they choose to feed you. You don't have to try to tune in the next time fucking Mythbusters is doing a special on that thing you want to know about. I can tell you right now, and if you don't want to wait for me to tell you, then you can just look it up on Wikipedia. You can look it up on a forum. You can share that information. When you learn it, you can share that information. You can give it to anybody you want, free of charge, and no one's regulating it. No one's stopping you from doing that. It's free fucking speech, and there's nothing terrifying, more terrifying to the status quo and the people that control you and the people that are in charge than freedom of fucking speech. It scares the shit out of them. The internet's a fucking miracle. And right now, it doesn't matter whether it's through this machine I'm sitting here in front of, or the machine we all hold in our hands these days, or it doesn't matter. I can share and give, and no one gets paid. No one gets paid. That's what's crazy about this. That's what terrifies the hell out of them. No one gets paid. And it used to be a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it still is. But due to the inflation, due to the fact that they've stranglehold of the economy, this should be a multi-trillion-dollar industry by now. And they're pissed off that it's not. But I digress. The point that I'm making is that I'm going to fight to my dying breath, the last breath I take, to make sure that you guys have access to this free speech, that you have rights to this freedom of speech, this free access, exchanging of ideas and information for the rest of your lives. And it's the one thing that my generation pulled off. It's the one thing we did right. And I'm not going to let the generation before us take it apart. And I'm not going to let you guys fucking squander this resource either. I'm going to try my best to remind you every day what a gift it is to the world, You know, the other day I saw a Google commercial, I didn't read it. I saw a Google ad about a guy in Africa who wanted to figure out how to purify water. And he knew about the internet. He'd heard about it in his village, so he made a trek to an internet cafe in Africa so that he could look up how to filter water, how to make clean water. And he learned it, and he did it. And then he shared that information with his village. And then he began to realize what an incredible resource the internet was, how fascinating it was to be able to learn how to do these things that his village needs. And he would continue to trek back and forth. And then he realized, you know, other people can't make this trek, and other people don't know how to access a computer. Other people can't do what I'm doing. So he erected a bulletin board in the center of his village where he would take these printouts and he would take this information that he'd learned and he'd paste it there so that anybody who wanted to learn these things could come by and read it. And that's amazing, man. That's amazing. That's miraculous. Now, whereas we're all using it to complain about, you know, whatever bullshit on Twitter. Oh, they're canceled community. Oh, fuck my favorite internet program. Okay, you know, we use it for that too. And that's fine, man. It's meant to be a source of entertainment as well. But, wow. I grew up in a time where I couldn't get access to music unless I paid out the ass to hear that song. I'd have to wait that it came on the TV or the radio. That if I wanted to learn information, I had to travel a distance to find it. Or I had to find someone who's skilled in that area to teach it to me. I grew up in a time where the world was very, very big. And that accessing parts of the globe was nearly impossible. Talking to somebody from outside of another country, it'd pay $3 an hour. Or $3 a minute to talk to somebody in across the globe. Now you can do it right now for free over Skype. It's a miracle. It's a fucking miracle. So that's my rant for the day. I hope you guys really understand. I hope you guys understand the world you live in and how fantastical it really is. And I'm going to make today's word very easy. You can use the word miracle, and I don't care if you're making fun of Insane Clown Posse. I don't care how you use it. If you can use the word miracle in your comment below, then I'll know you made it all the way to the end of this 10-minute rant. I hope you guys stuck with me. Hope you guys understand. And I love you guys. Thanks for listening.